My threads are doing Iron Man numbers and I don't care anymore.
Yeah, sorry for that intro. I couldn't help myself. So before I get started, I do need to point out that this is an outsider's perspective, so if someone's looking to further validate what they feel about the topic, maybe getting an outsider's perspective is another way to get validated. I also really don't want to do this video more ways than one, because I really don't feel comfortable talking about individuals that I don't really know, and I don't really want to do YouTube drama, so I really hope this is actually just going to be the last. So part of me kind of wants this video to inevitably fail, hopefully. And usually I'm a positive individual, and yeah, I'm going to try my best to try and end on a positive note in this video. So the story on the street is that Finn Mckenty retires from YouTube. If only that was the end of the story. For those that don't know, Finn Mckenty is one of the largest music YouTubers on the platform, and I really don't know too much about Finn because I don't really watch any of his content. I did see one video to where he did talk about gatekeeping. I did thought it was well done, but other than that, I really don't follow the guy at all. So Jesea Lee would end up doing an interview with Finn Mckenty, and in this interview, I gotta say, like, Finn was all over the place. And by his own admission, in the interview, he ended up saying that all of this was just for the money and nothing else.
I'm mostly just active on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Is that why you stopped making videos, just because of all the negativity?
No, it's because, like, I don't really have any interest in music. So I was just doing it for the money, and I hit my financial goals. And so there's really just no reason for me. Like, I don't have to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to spend our time on this earth is limited. Like, don't spend it doing shit you don't have to do if you don't want to, It's like, I made enough money from this. I don't have to keep making videos about System of a Down. So I'm going to stop.
Man, so you really didn't enjoy it at all? There's just like no part of you that was like, oh, I'm excited to talk about this band today or anything like that. It was always just completely transactional for you?
Yeah, I don't have any interest in music at all.
He's been known to cover a lot of music from bands and artists and genres from like about 2005 or so. And he ended up saying that he actually never listened to some of the bands that he actually covered.
You actually like kind of scared me away from even trying content creation initially. Because like
that?
You like just seemed like such a wealth of knowledge. Like you knew so much about the topics you were talking about that I was like, dude, I can't make content. Like I don't know like the encyclopedia history of all these bands, but like,
well,
you
neither
just
do I. It's just like literally look it up on Wikipedia. I don't know. Like I've never listened to System of a Down in my life.
Which is just mind-blowing to me. Like, how do you pull that off? Hearing that, it just makes zero sense to me. And in the end, he just ended up validating all of his haters. There are a lot of people online that never liked Finn to begin with. They all called him a poser, they all called him a fraud, and all of them are saying, I told you so. And with me, I would say I kind of just feel really bad for the fan base that he had. Because what can you say about someone that you thought you cared about, that you thought you had similar opinions with, possibly similar taste in music, and then just to hear it was all for the money and nothing else? It's going to ruffle some feathers for sure. It's one thing if it's just someone that just spent their time just watching the content, that's one thing, but for the individuals that actually gave money to him, I feel like I could say that they actually paid to have their voice be heard. So if anyone has a right to say something positive or negatively towards Finn, it's going to be his fan base. Being a little bit more positive here. And I understand I might get some negativity coming my way because of this, pitchforks included. If there's anything that you should take away from this video is perhaps maybe more people should
judge slowly. Behind me, This is the first nude scene in motion picture history. In the 1933 Czech film Ecstasy, 20-year-old Hedy Lamarr shocks the world by becoming the first woman to bare her breasts on camera, thus becoming the original Girl Gone Wild. Her outrageous behavior makes her an international film star and a pop culture icon, who once said any woman can be glamorous, all she has to do is stand still and look stupid. But early in 1941, shortly after World War II begins, Hedy is out partying. Concerned about the Nazis jamming Allied radio signals, Hedy takes out a cocktail napkin and on the back of it draws up a plan that will become known as frequency hopping. This is a way to make jamming radio signals impossible. I mean, look, this is Hedy's actual patent for frequency hopping. I mean, this isn't a handbag or a cosmetics line she's putting her name on, right? This is impressive stuff. So who many thought was an exhibitionist club-hopping bimbo of her time invents a revolutionary defense system that has been used in everything from the Cuban Missile Crisis to Wi-Fi to cell phones. Well, stand still and look stupid my ass!
But one thing I can say for sure is that Finn was shooting from the hip, so there was multiple times to where he was misspeaking, had more than a few things to where I think he could clarify. For as bad as what Finn said in this entire interview, there's one thing that I do come to the conclusion of is that as much as he deserves a lot of hate right now, he is very mildly redeemable in all of this. There's a lot worser people in the world than Finn. Although I will say the well is very much tainted. But the reason why I would give him the benefit of the doubt is because the fact that I'm late to the party on this, it does allow me to have some more information that you guys may not know about that kind of came to light. At one point during the interview that he doesn't like music at all. I think I ended up seeing a video to where somebody mentioned that the wording was, that was a bit of an exaggeration. Allegedly, this particular YouTuber actually contacted Finn. They were friends. He did a video to where he pretty much just stood up for him, which it makes sense. I mean, if Finn Mckenty's your friend, you're going to stand up for him. But according to that video that this friend of his did point out that that quote is a little bit of an exaggeration. From the wording and how I interpreted it was something along the lines of, yeah, I like listening to music, but I don't really like talking about music. And I would say that's 100% fair. The only problem is, probably don't make an entire YouTube channel on it. If all he really wanted to do was marketing, then why not just do that? There is one moment to where I feel like I have to play this because this is a clip that is taken out of context. So let's actually take a look at the clip of the smooth brain clip. The reason why I want to talk about this for a second is because I saw this clip and I kind of interpreted that it was, he said this towards his fan base. And I remember thinking, man, he went really hard, didn't he? But luckily, because I was late to the show, I did ended up hearing that that is actually completely wrong and that that particular clip is actually about something else entirely. And when I heard that, I was thinking, are you sure? So I had to go back and look at it for myself. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the clip, and I want you to really break it down. Listen to what Jesea Lee says, and then listen to how Finn follows up with it. And then you tell me, does it sound like he's talking about his fan base?
It is crazy when you do see like news headlines that make a big deal about a band doing something. And like, I'm not speaking of Linkin Park in this part, but it's like, it will be like a band does something crazy and it's a news headline everyone's talking about for like weeks or whatever. But then you look at their tour dates and that band is playing like a 500 cap room,
right,
to like 30. It's like so this band that everyone's talking about isn't actually drawing any people. It's just something for people to talk about. It's just conversation fodder. It's news,
It's just because these like smooth brained, low vibration people just want some negativity to fucking blurt out their dumb fucking opinions about.
So you haven't even listened to Linkin Park then, I'm guessing, the new album?
I mean, I heard it. I don't have an opinion.
So in that clip, with full context, you kind of notice that the vibe is, they're talking about rage bait. Jesse Lee was talking about, it does kind of sound like he was kind of talking about when news is kind of thin, you just kind of have to like go with like the smallest of bands to just kind of get like a story out. So that particular clip, when I first saw it, I just heard the smooth brain part. I didn't really hear anything before or after. And because of that, I realized, I kind of got swept up too in the whole negativity of things. I will say, just like kind of like what I said before, the well is kind of tainted, so he's not really coming back from this. But I did kind of start thinking that it is possible that he could have elaborated, but then I'm also realizing there is a possibility that he probably would continue that negativity and maybe dig a hole even deeper. So I think it goes without saying he was better off not doing this interview, but I think it also goes to show that there is that small level of opportunity that if he was willing to play ball, he probably could have elaborated a little bit better on some areas. Yeah, he's not clean, but he's probably not as dirty as some people are kind of making him out to be. But that still doesn't explain the not liking your channel and doing it for the money and kind of souring your entire fan base in the process with your choice of words. I think that's another thing that you could easily say about all of this is he probably could have used a better choice of language for the most part. I think that's pretty much all I really wanted to say in this video, so I'm just going to go ahead and just wrap this up. Honestly, I really don't like doing this video. I myself kind of feel like I'm a little bit all over the place a little bit. So I'm just going to shut up and go listen to some Motorhead. Later.
Which brings me back to my girl, Britney. And once again, I say judge slowly. Because in the future, we may very well learn that Britney went into that car with underwear on. And the reason they came off may someday change history. I shit you not.